while I'm at it, let me go ahead and introduce you to our dogs here. We got two puppies. This is Nero, and this is Gaia. Nero has found out that there are a lot of things around here that are edible. And last night he found my pear tree and saw him through the window. He was pulling pears off, sitting down and eating them just like the figs you just saw. My spirit animal there. Good morning, everybody. At least good morning for me, because we are out here this morning on a nice Sunday morning, and I figured I would bring you along while I'm eating figs. I don't know if that's good for you or good for me, but let's talk about some of the figs that I've got turning ripe right now, and just kind of give you a little live testing as I go down through my front orchard fig row right here. Then we're going to go on down to the back fig orchard and pick one or two figs that I have out there that are starting to turn ripe. The first tree that I want to show you today is the Adelios Purple. It's a Mount Etna type fig. It's dark. It's got the traditional leaf pattern of a Mount Etna, and it is just starting to turn ripe. I've had one or two of these figs already. Whenever I was cutting grass the other day, I was riding around on a mower and I'm like, hey, there's a ripe fig, and I reached up, popped it in my mouth. Man, it's absolutely wonderful. I don't know how many of you ever heard the term fig honey, but if I look down right here, I see a fig, and it has a little drop of glistening off to it. See that? It's coming right out of the eye there, starting to run down. That's called fig honey. It's just a big blob of syrup, and it's sugary sweet. Got my grafting knife out here with me today, so I'm going to use my grafting knife. We'll slice open a few of these, take a look, and also take a taste. Slice that one right down the middle. That one doesn't look as good as some of the others I've had. I got a lot of zirconium in there, that white stuff. This is not typical, but this was a little deformed looking fig anyway. Nothing wrong with that. That's a real good tasting fig. This one's starting to get a little bit of that cracking to it. See a little cracking on the skin. Cut this one open. And see, that one looks pretty good. Real good fig. Being that this is a Mount Etna, there are a lot of fig varieties out there that are Mount Etna figs, which means you have this typical Mount Etna leaf pattern that's jagged looking. Let me pop one off. Right here, if you see, you got some side lobing going on right here on this main front lobe, and a little jagged side lobing here also. That's one clue that you're looking at Mount Etna. Dark skin, kind of reddish, with a red, dog, can you get that one? With a red interior, kind of a berry flavor. So I like this one because this one gets ready sooner than my Chicago Hardy, which is probably the most widespread Mount Etna type that you can find. You can usually find those at your big box store. And I have one of those, and we'll go down and look at them, as they're just starting to ripen up too. Years past, this one has always ripened a month ahead of my Chicago Hardy, and even a little bit better in flavor. All right, so that's Adelios Purple. Let's go on down to the next one. Next up is our Lebanese Yellow. And that's a nice big yellow fig on this one. Let me reach right down here. And I thought I saw one that was ripe a while ago. I guess Nero went ahead and ate that one too. Let me pull this one off. You can't reach this one. This one's actually starting to go bad a little bit. Yep, this one's fermenting, so we'll get rid of that. Lebanese Yellow has been maturing fruits for about 2 weeks now. and I've got a few left on it. I wasn't very happy with this one in the very beginning because for the first 3 years it didn't fruit, and then I finally got one, and then last year I got 2 or 3. This year it actually loaded up, and I don't know what the difference was between all the previous years and this year, but I'm happy with this now, and as long as it continues to bear 20 or 30 good size fruit for me, I'm going to keep it. But nice big yellow honey fig. Has a little bit of an open eye right there, so water tends to get up in there. But since this is such a heavy fig, it also hangs down on the tree, so less likely during light showers that water's going to get in there and contaminate that fig. Give it a nice slice. Open it up, and look at that red interior in there. Looks real good. Let's get the camera to focus. Let's give this one a taste. Good melon type of flavor. Very refreshing, not overly sweet. So yeah, Lebanese yellow. Very happy with this one so far. I love a fig that I can just eat like an apple. It takes several bites to finish the fig, and instead of those little ones you just pop in your mouth. Those are kind of convenient too, but man, the joy of just biting into a fig and having another big bite right behind that to finish it up. I really enjoy that, and you can typically get that with these honey figs. You got it. Next fig tree that's down the row is Alma. Alma is known by several different varieties, Holy Smokes being one of them, and Falls Gold I think is another one. And it's developed by the University of Texas A&M, I believe is the one that developed this. And it's kind of unusual because you get this waxy surface on them, and it kind of shines, whereas the rest of them don't have a shiny, waxy surface on them. And this is a pretty good fig. Probably one of the reasons that someone thought it was justifiable to name it Holy Smokes. So we got an amber color on the inside. Very firm. The texture of the skin is totally different than any other texture of a fig that I've had before. And it's very unique. It's not off-putting, it's just different, very slick. Am I wowed by it? Not at all. It's a good fig, but I'll always keep it. You know, it's great to ride around a lawnmower and eat figs, even if it happens to be one that's not at the top of your list. All right, so here's another Mount Etna type. This one goes by the name Danny's Delight. Typical Mount Etna type leaf. Here's one of the figs that are starting to droop. Typical Mount Etna. Beautiful red interior. good flavor. I say Adelia's Purple outranks it. Very soft and jammy. Not a rich berry flavor. Just sweet, average. More of a light berry, if I had to describe it. Danny's Delight. Now this happens to be the biggest tree that I have as far as my rare type of figs. And this one isn't rare at all. It's very common, very easy to find. You can find this mostly at your big box store. But this is the Mount Etna that all Mount Etnas are compared to. This is Chicago Hardy. And you can see, there's your typical red. The eye is starting to open up on this one because we had a lot of rain here recently, and I don't know if you can hear it in the background, but we may end up getting rained out before we get through with this video. There's the interior. Now this one isn't as red as what we just saw with Danny's Delight, but it's about average, probably on par with Adelia's Purple. That one needed to ripen a little bit more, but if I'd have left it on the tree and we're getting ready to get this rain, we'd have lost it. It has that green, sappy flavor. Let me pull off this the stem end and get rid of that and see if the other side ends up tasting any better. Didn't change the flavor at all. Probably my least favorite of the Mount Etnas are the Chicago Hardy, but I'll always keep it because it survives the winter. Last year we had winter that dropped down to 15 degrees for 4 days straight, and for a couple of days it didn't get out of freezing at all. Chicago Hardy didn't take any damage, whereas it froze to the ground some of my others, like my Adelia's Purple, my Danny's Delight, and a few of my other type of Mount Etnas froze all the way to the ground. This thing just kept right on trucking. Matter of fact, when spring came around, this thing just jumped right on out and put on new growth and a whole big batch of figs. You can't really see, but inside of this, it is just absolutely loaded with figs, and I'll try to get you a shot. So right here, you can see that it's just loaded with figs in there. Another nice big fig right here. Let's crack that one open, take a look. Tastes just like the other one. Has a little bit of that green sappy, kind of an off flavor to it. I posted a picture of the fruit of this little fig tree the other day, and it probably has more likes than people I have that are members of my Facebook group, Farmington Famous. But this one right now, people are going nuts about, and I can understand why. This is Black Celeste. Black Celeste was first told to me about my friend Cajun B. He had told me that this is probably in his top 10, if not his number 3. And there's some other big collectors that said this is probably like a top 3 fig for him. And it's a real small fig, but the color and the flavor is really good and really intense. I'll try to find a good one for you. Kind of show you what this thing looks like. Pull this one off. Let's take a look. None of them are perfectly ripe right this second because I've been eating them. But Black Celeste is not a true Celeste fig. Not sure why it was given the name Black Celeste, but has a closed eye, purple skin. This is a family heirloom tree that came to us from Italy. It has that nice, dark, rich pulp. Now, give it an extra day. If you see on the end where that has turned purple, that whole fig will end up being purple, and it is absolutely stunning, an amazing fig. That's good, even not perfectly ripe. That is that's probably it right there. That's probably my best tasting fig that I own, that I've sampled so far. I've got 120 varieties all out in my orchard, and I've probably only tasted maybe 10 of them, maybe. That one's good. People have been asking me about cuttings, about giving them, if I had any trees for sale. At this time, I don't. We are a licensed nursery. I will be propagating. I won't be taking a lot from this tree. If I propagate anything from it, it'll only be a couple cuttings this year. I want to let this tree get much bigger. I'm probably going to take an air layer, put it in my big orchard, so that it gives it some room to grow. This tree right next to it, my LSU Champagne, is really crowding it out, and I'm concerned that this is not getting proper amount of sunlight and the nutrition. It's been here for about 3 years, and it's doing okay. Here's one right here that's been picked on by the birds. But yeah, this is what I'm talking about. Look at that dark color. How it just glistens, all that syrup pooled up right in the middle right there. Oh, that is amazing. That is a good fig. I just need to take a minute. Whew. Man, that's good. All right, Black Celeste, let's move on to LSU Champagne right next to it. Dr. O'Rourke, which was head of the LSU fig breeding program, said that this fig was worth all the time and effort. He said it in some different words, but essentially that was the gist of what he was saying. LSU Champagne is supposed to have a nice champagne center color on it. I've got some sugar spots. You see all that brown stuff on the outside right there? Your sugar figs will start getting sugar spots like that. That's not it going bad per se, or as much as saying that it's going bad. Eventually it'll go bad in a day or two. But sugar spots are typical. If you like honey figs, this is a must. You've got to have LSU Champagne added to your collection. Very good flavor, very delicate, refreshing, as most all your honey figs are. But this tree's growing very good for me too. I've cut this one back almost to the ground this past winter, and all this growth is just from this year. I took a lot of cuttings anticipating me doing a lot of propagating, and I've had some other stuff get in the way, so I've not been able to propagate as much as I want. But I will be propagating this one, so I should end up having trees and cuttings of this one later on. All right, here we are in the back fig orchard where I have my 120 varieties planted out. Last year, I planted this entire orchard last spring, so all these plants that are out here are very young in nature. I cut this one down to the ground right before we got our 15-degree freeze last year. And all this growth has come back since the spring. And I don't know if you can see it, and you can zoom in with the camera, but at every node, Red Lebanese Baca Valley has a fig. I've got one maturing at the bottom, and I've got little figs that are just starting to come on at the top, and all the stages that are in between. Red Lebanese Baca Valley is another Mount Etna type. Typical red skin, red interior. That's a lot of zirconium layer in there. Mild seed crunch. Better than Chicago Hardy. Creamier than Adeleo's Purple. When you start getting into the Mount Etna types, there's only slight variances between all the different types. Little microgenetics that make it unique. And Red Lebanese Bekaa Valley isn't any different. If you have one good Mount Etna type, you can choose to stick with it if you want to keep your orchard small and just have one or two of the different types of flavors of fruits. You can choose this one, Adeleo's Purple. You could even do Hardy Chicago, which I would advise that that's probably my least favorite, but it's very winter hardy. So if you live north where it gets cold and you risk losing your trees in the wintertime, then that's probably the one you should go with. All right, this is going to do it for today's tasting. This is our last fig. This is Black Manzanita. It actually needs an extra day or two. I'm concerned with two things. One, all this rain that we're about to get, and then I'd end up losing the fig due to spoilage. And number two, crows like to hang out in this back orchard, and they like to sample the fruit as much as my dogs and I both do. So I choose to go ahead and we'll harvest this one early. This is a very first taste test for me. I've never tried this one before, but it's a nice big fig, good looking interior. A lot of people are raving about this fig, how good it is. We'll see. It's very firm. It actually really does need an extra day or two. Yeah, has that zirconium flavor to it. Pull that top off there. Very little seed crunch, mild flavor. I'm sure the flavors would intensify with more time. My little tree still has a lot of fruit on it. I'm probably going to give this one another chance to fully mature, but good so far. Now this one doesn't strike me as a Mount Etna type because the leaf pattern is a little bit different. This one's just a 3-lobe leaf, and as the tree gets taller, it could put on different style leaves. I'm not sure what the background of Black Manzanita is, but can't wait to see what the future fruits taste like. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed the video of me bringing you along and just sampling and talking about all these different types of figs that are just starting to mature. Here we are going into the 3rd week of July, and some of the later season figs are starting to come in to fruit, whereas the earlier flavored ones like my Black Turkey, they're almost through with their flush of figs. I didn't sample the Black Turkey that I have. It's a very big tree. It's probably 25 feet big around and probably 12 feet tall in the center. But that's my workhorse. That's the one I can go out to and walk around that tree one time and I'm full. And I could just load up on those figs and almost hurt myself. Hit the like button, share the video if you enjoyed it. We invite you along for our future fig tour videos and future tastings. Remember, keep growing, keep building, and always keep adventuring. Together, we're Farmington Famous. We'll see you on the next one.